Hello and welcome to Not Now in Theaters. My name is Will Turntail and I'm a writer and film fan from California. This episode is about The Raid 2, a sequel to the all-time martial arts classic. After the original captured worldwide attention, The Raid 2 could have played it safe, found a new building to storm, and repeated the original's trick. But director Gareth Evans decided to expand the scope and went for an epic 2.5-hour undercover cop drama. Could the film take this next step into a larger scope and still create as much mayhem as story? This episode aims to find out. Just before we start, I gotta let you know that I'm fostering a cat here, so if you hear some weird trilling sounds in this recording, it's because this irrepressible cat is just running around my house here. Just before we start, a reminder that making films is hard, and you have to respect that. So any criticisms are meant to be constructive. Also, my reviews can contain spoilers. I'll do my best to call them out for you if they come up. All right, let's go. The Raid 2 review. Can this expansive sequel dropkick high expectations? The Raid 2 had a fight coming on and off the screen. The first film, Indonesian-made The Raid, aka The Raid Redemption, captured international attention. It's considered by many, including me, to be an all-time great of the action martial arts genres, featuring some of the most captivating hand-to-hand combat captured on film. While the original didn't exactly light up box offices in the States, there were enough earnings domestically and abroad to get a sequel, one with an increased budget, $4.5 million over $1.1 million. Writer-director Gareth Evans returned, and so did the original star, Uwais, and choreographer Yayan Ruhian. So, armed with a bigger budget but facing higher expectations, could The Raid 2 deliver? Let's find out. Is The Raid 2 a good movie? Note, the film is also known as The Raid Retaliation. The plot of The Raid 2. Just after the events of the first film, bloodied survivors Rama, Bowo, and Lieutenant Wayu meet with Lieutenant Bunawar. Bunawar leads a covert internal affairs team investigating Police Chief Reza's dealings with politician/gangster Bangun and Japanese mobster Hideaki Goto. In exchange for protecting Rama's family and hiding his identity from corrupt police or the Jakarta Mafia, Bunawar convinces Rama to join his investigation. After all, he's in a bit of a tight spot. Bunawar sends Rama undercover to infiltrate Bangun's organization by befriending Bangun's son, Uko. As Rama earns Uko's trust, will his identity be uncovered? And can he survive his new identity as an enforcer in the criminal underworld? And just to walk you through the cast here, Rama is once again played by the explosive Iko Uwais. Lieutenant Bunawar is played by Kak Simbara. Politician/gangster Bangun is played by Tio Pakusadewo. Hideaki Goto is played by Kenichi Endo. Bangun's son Uko is played by Arifin Putra. Beho is played by Alex Abad. The assassin is played by Cecep Arif Rahman. Hammer Girl is played by Julia Stell. Prakoso is played by Yayan Ruhian. And Baseball Batman is played by Veritri Yolisman. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name because I wasn't able to look up a pronunciation. I couldn't seem to find it, but let's hope that was correct. And you can read the rest of the main cast here in the transcript. And if you wanted to see a trailer for The Raid 2, I put a link at the top of this transcript for that over to Sony Pictures Classics on YouTube. So let's get into what I felt were the great things about this movie. First up, The Raid 2 keeps its hench people colorful, giving us some exciting baddies. There's the deadly brother-sister duo of Hammer Girl and Baseball Batman, two eccentric enforcers like something out of a Robert Rodriguez movie. You know, the guy that made Once Upon a Time in Mexico. The sister dual wields Carpenter's claw hammers, ouch. And the brothers' special moves are hitting a baseball at people's heads or just good old-fashioned bat beatdowns. On paper, they could break the more serious tone of this movie, but it's reined in enough not to. And then there's the assassin, Beho's top dog. He never speaks, and his graceful movements and precision knife strikes show he's in command. You can think of him as that little silent guy Homer Simpson geeks out over when the Yakuza battle the Springfield Mafia in his yard on The Simpsons, if you know the reference to that episode. So 3 points for these exciting foes. Now we gotta talk about how the third act shifts into gear. The final act is the chaotic blitz you tuned in for. There's a car chase, among the best I've seen, that combines close quarters fighting with high-speed crashes of metal and narrow misses. And it gets desperate. Seatbelts are makeshift strangulation devices, there's a battle of who can reload their gun faster, that a character literally wins by their teeth. Then, a new building raid begins, with Rama storming Beho's stronghold, not intent on making any arrests. So a whopping 10 points for this third act. And if you wanted to see a piece of that car fight / car chase, you can do that with the YouTube link in the transcript over to Box Office Movie Scenes on YouTube. Next, we gotta talk about the boss battles. Sometimes you watch a martial arts film, anticipating battles that, once they arrive, you wish would end because they drag on far too long. Other times, the key showdowns get too over the top, stretching the audience's slack for unrealistic allowances into full-on, what the fuck was that, indulgences. The Raid 2 just gets on with delivering. When Rama takes on mini-boss characters Hammer Girl and Baseball Batman, it's a bloody ballet, Rama slipping in a careful rhythm between club and clawhammer swings. And the inevitable showdown between Rama and the assassin is approximately 7 minutes, which leaves nothing in the tank and leaks a lot of blood on the floor. The pace of the battle is relentless, and even the characters get gassed and are forced to take a breather. Warning, the clip I included here will ruin that fight between Rama and the assassin for you. But if you are the type that fails the marshmallow test, well, there's a YouTube link to it here in the transcript over to Joe Blow Movie Clips. So 6 points for the boss battles. Indonesian martial art Pencak Silat's grappling, kicking, pounding, and knife fighting returns in this movie, with characters improvising with their environment, including one painful scene with a cooktop, to dispatch their enemies. The action holds up as well as the original films, which is quite the compliment. I don't want to gloss over how spectacular this all is, but I already talked about this in pretty good detail in my episode on the original The Raid. So if you want to hear more about how the fighting works and the documentary film style, etc., check out episode 11 of this podcast. So 4 points for the Pencak Silat martial arts. And I have a link to Yayan Ruhian's character, Prakoso, showing off these skills. Check out the nightclub fight scene over on Box Office Movie Scenes on YouTube. What's not working so well? So now that I've given out all the praise, it's time to look at what I thought could be improved here. So the first and biggest issue I had with the sequel was its plot. Some critics criticized the first movie for having too little plot, but strangely, this one swung the other way and has too much. While the first film crammed in a few intense hours, The Raid 2 unfolds over approximately 2 years. The plot is a reworking of Evans' unused script for a film called Berendal, an action crime drama. He dropped Rama into its framework, tweaking it to line up with his character's motivations. For better or worse, creators adapt unused story ideas to fit a new line of characters all the time. Why waste the imagination, right? But perhaps not starting from scratch is what hurt this film. The plot is an unbalanced cocktail. 1 part action martial arts film, 1 part mob rise to power story, and 1 part undercover cop drama. But I only like the taste of that first fist-fighting ingredient. The mob story is the ambitions of the power-hungry we've gone down time and time before, with nothing clever or inventive to break it up. And the undercover cop drama barely floats in. We don't fear Rama as getting so close to the criminals he's becoming one, like Donnie Brasco, nor do we feel the suspense at his possible discovery for more than a few moments, unlike, say, the celebrated Infernal Affairs trilogy. And for the unfamiliar, those are 3 amazing films that were kneecapped into a US remake, The Departed, but that's another article and another complaint. I'm all for sequels trying to go deeper and be ambitious, but this is a plot that can't justify its 150-minute runtime. So we'll deduct 4 points for the story that just didn't land. I've got my spoiler alert up for this section, so skip ahead if you don't want to hear it. Actor, choreographer Yayan Ruhian, who played Mad Dog in the original, returns. But this time, Ruhian plays Bangun's trusted assassin, Prakoso. Director Evans has said he will only do a martial arts movie with Ruhian. Still, other than that statement, it's confusing why the character exists. The film spends time setting the character up only to kill him off. His death is meant to advance the plot, yet events in the movie make it pointless. Cutting this character out of a movie that's too long would have saved precious runtime. And when I first saw Ruhian, with his shaggy, homeless appearance, I thought he was reprising his role of Mad Dog in the first film, which gets confusing. I think Evans meant he wouldn't do a martial arts film without Ruhian as a choreographer, not necessarily as an actor. So maybe Evans giving Ruhian a role was something he had to do to get him back, but I don't think so. So 1 point off for a character who honestly just lifts right out. Next, let's talk about what I'm calling hanging with Uncle Uko and pals. Uko is this movie's Commodus from Gladiator. He's a thug who wants more responsibility and power from his father, Bangun. But he's boring. The character has no sympathetic nor unique, all too despicable qualities worth following him for. You could say the same for newfound ally Beho. He's a cane-carrying, up-and-coming meanie who wears his aviator sunglasses at night. Still, he's more of an action figure of a crime boss than a real, vibrant one. So we'll take out 3 points for this. This category I'm calling one punch to the head too many. After a while, you get tired of seeing so much violence, which can creep in without the action. For example, a business meeting is casually conducted by slitting the throats of tied-up victims one by one with an X-Acto knife. Yeesh. So we'll remove 1 point for this. This constructive criticism I'm calling bye-bye survival horror. The Raid 2 takes the fight to wide open locations, like a brawl in a prison yard. And while it makes the sequel broader, the trade-off is that it leaves out one of the original strengths. The Raid had an element of video game survival horror. Think the game Resident Evil. The confines of the building and the animalistic fight between the elite police, Indonesian SWAT, against the onslaught of ferocious tenants, it was like the building itself was a character. We still get some close quarters combat, like a nasty brawl inside and just outside a diseased-looking toilet stall. Ugh. Or a fight in a noodle restaurant. And opening things up gave us the glorious car chase. But we lost the frantic, flee-for-your-life, fight-when-you-have-to tone that characterized the original. So another point off for the excellent survival horror tone, floating away. Last up, I criticized the first movie for its lack of female characters. This time we get Hammer Girl, Prakoso's wife, and Rama's wife. And I spotted a secretary. It was a step or two in the right direction. Still, more prominent female characters would be welcome, especially in a story this large, so we'll deduct 1 point for this. So the Raid 2 scores 12 points. On my scale of let's not watch, should I watch, or go watch this movie, I'm going to award it my go watch rating. Fans of the first film and action movie buffs, go watch The Raid 2. The film features more of the best on-screen combat you can find. The fight and chase sequences rise to the occasion, combining the beauty and brutality of Indonesian pencak silat martial arts with stunt work fit for a Mad Max film. But casual audiences may not love this movie. The sequel tried to grow up, and in doing so, its shortcomings in storytelling were exposed. It's a whopping 2.5 hours that doesn't justify that length, marrying itself to a plot that isn't novel or compelling. And the frantic survival horror, all-out pacing of the film is gone, weakening what a winning, one-of-a-kind formula was. Credit goes to Gareth Evans and the crew for matching the action of Part 1. And in some fans' eyes, exceeding it. I could see myself as more likely to revisit the best set pieces and fights from Part 2 over Part 1. But in terms of which movie I'd like to go back to, I'd probably watch the original all the way through. I think the gangster action drama was best left as a separate project. And for more Gareth Evans in The Raid, you can go back to episode 11 of this podcast where I talked about the first movie. The Raid 2's legacy. I already spoke about the Raid's legacy in a previous episode, so I won't go into the exact same details here. But as I said in the last film's legacy, though many wished for a third installment of the Raid, director Gareth Evans, to paraphrase, felt things had wrapped up neatly for main character Rama after part 2 and wanted to pursue other projects. One of those projects I didn't mention the last time around is the Netflix film Havoc, starring Tom Hardy and released less than 2 weeks before this episode is published. Right now, that film has a 67% critical, 37% audience meter on Rotten Tomatoes, just a reference for how the reception's going so far. You could say that The Raid 2, as opposed to Part 1, helped show that Gareth Evans could handle a long film with a more expansive plot than the first movie. And somehow I overlooked talking about actor and choreographer Yayan Ruhian in the last film's legacy section. He's gone on to be in lots of movies too, including Star Wars The Force Awakens as a character called Tasu Leech. And Iko Uwais, who plays Rama, and Cecep Arif Rahman, who played the assassin, were also in that movie with him. So I guess there's a Raid characters thing going on in The Force Awakens I didn't know about. But those three do end up in the same movies together a lot, since they work in the martial arts sector. Ruhian also appeared in John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, as Shinobi number 2. And wouldn't you know it, Cecep Arif Rahman was Shinobi number 1. And Ruhian was also the character Shaman, the mentor, in the Sam Raimi-produced movie Boy Kills World that came out in 2023. He's also had roles in many Indonesian, Malaysian, and American productions, like the Skyline film series. Cecep Arif Rahman, who played the assassin, actually began his acting career with The Raid 2. He had been sought out to appear in Gareth Evans' earlier film Morantu, but turned it down. But eventually they got him, and you might say we got him, because he's explosive and amazing. It looks like he continues to act in Indonesian films, along with the American roles I already mentioned. Apologies to any actors I haven't highlighted here. Lastly, just like The Raid influenced the martial arts and action world, The Raid 2 went bigger with its action sequences. Both movies influenced franchises like, say, John Wick, but you have to say this second one showed it was no fluke the first time around and demonstrated what can be possible for expansive action in a variety of settings. Alright, that's everything I have to say about The Raid 2. Thank you so much for listening. I hope I persuaded you to check this movie out, or if you've already seen it, brought you some insights into why it's a kick-ass movie. And if you've seen it, what's your favorite action scene from The Raid 2? Is it the car chase, Rama versus the assassin, or something else? You can reach out and let me know on Blue Sky using the link in the transcript. You'll find me as Will Turntail, and it's at not-ni-theaters.bsky.social. Which is kind of annoying to read, so just use the link in the transcript. And if you like this episode, will you leave me a review on your favorite podcast platform? I'd really appreciate you taking 1 minute or two to help me out, and I'd love to hear what you think of the show. Or if you're listening on YouTube, hit the like button on the episode for me. This podcast episode is a production copyright of Overegged Media LLC, located in Sacramento, California. Reference photos linked in the transcript are copyrighted by the Internet Movie Database. This review's factual information was gathered through online sources like Wikipedia, IMDb, or interviews. Misrepresentations and errors are possible, but unintentional. The introduction music was Neon Laser Horizon. The exit music was Voxel Revolution. The additional music was Rising Tide, (Faster), and Aerosol of My Love. All these songs are by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com, and they're all licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. Goodbye for now. Come back next week. I'll have another episode on Tuesday.